Begin in Washington, D.C., where the gun control battle takes center stage in the wake of the latest mass shootings. Congress is in recess right now, but many are calling on lawmakers to take action now.
That brings us to our live survey. We're asking, should Congress return to D.C. to immediately deal with the shooting crisis? You can vote by heading to khou.com/vote now, or you can also share your thoughts with us using the hashtag HTownRush.
We'll have team coverage with the latest from both El Paso and Dayton. But first, let's get to Cheetah Craft to start off the Rush Block.
Okay, well, we're starting off dry this morning, but grab the umbrella. Like yesterday, those rain chances pop in as we continue throughout your morning hours, mainly midday and afternoon. Take a look at the next 3 days. This is what I want you to take note of. Rain chances moving out after today. Temperatures, though, cranking up. Every day we'll see about a degree or two tacked on. So 95 today, 96 tomorrow, 97 as we head into Thursday. Radar this morning, already a few showers lining up towards the immediate coastal areas. Matagorda, Chambers County, mainly talking to you, but Galveston, you'll probably tap into some of that light moisture as well. A lot of offshore activity, a good indication that some of that will be making it onshore. Live look outside in Kena this morning. Clouds starting to tower throughout the day today. Keep that umbrella at hand. We'll talk more about some of those triple digit numbers. Yes, expected in the 7-day coming up in just a little bit, Steph.
All right, Cheetah, sounds good. 6:02 on the nose. I have to tell you, it's one of the nicest, easiest drives we've seen for a morning commute in a very long time, folks. No accidents working right now, no traffic hazards that you need to be aware of. So I just want to show you traffic flow and what it's looking like around town. So here's your Katy Freeway. This is just inside the West Loop. We did have a stall. It was off to the right shoulder already, so it was never in the lanes that were impeding traffic towards the North Freeway. But I just wanted to let you know even that simple problem has already gone away. And then your overall look, we are still slow in Pasadena and starting to heat up on your North Gulf by Hobby. Lisa.
Thank you, Steph. President Trump plans to visit El Paso and Dayton tomorrow following this weekend's mass shootings. In El Paso, the death toll now stands at 22. Our Janelle Ford is following the investigation from the newsroom this morning. Janelle, what's the latest?
Well, Lisa, you know, when those gunshots began ringing out Saturday morning, people were running for their lives, leaving behind many of their personal items, including their cars. That Walmart, it's still an active crime scene this morning, but the FBI just announced people can now begin picking up their vehicles, which have been towed to the El Paso Convention Center. Right now, there are still 15 people in the hospital, 2 of them critical and fighting for their lives. El Paso police released the names of the 22 victims who died, among them a 2-month-old baby boy and a 90-year-old man. 12 victims were male, 10 female, and the majority, 13 to be exact, were U.S. citizens. New details are steadily coming in about the 21-year-old suspect in this tragedy. They say he made the more than 10-hour drive from his home in Allen, Texas, which is a suburb of Dallas, to El Paso, where he got lost in a neighborhood. He told cops he stopped at that Walmart because he was hungry and then grabbed his assault rifle and began shooting. Investigators say he hasn't shown any remorse. A judge-appointed, well-known San Antonio criminal defense lawyer Mark Stevens to represent him. President Trump is expected to visit El Paso tomorrow, and in the meantime, the city will open a family assistance center to give community support. Lisa.
Janelle, thank you. Now to Dayton. Reports there emerging showing what appears to be the 24-year-old gunman's Twitter feed. It includes tweets labeling himself a leftist. The account included tweets criticizing President Trump and supporting Democratic presidential candidates. Investigators have yet to say if the attack was politically motivated at all. They have not described the attack as a case of domestic terrorism. Those who knew the shooter say there were red flags, including troubling past issues with women.
He was somebody who made me feel afraid when I knew him as a teenager.
Police say he killed 9 people, including his sister, before officers were able to shoot and kill him.
President Trump is hinting he might support new background checks for gun purchases. The gun control debate is already dominating Twitter and Facebook. And this morning in our live survey, we're asking, should Congress return to D.C. to immediately deal with the shooting crisis? You can vote now on our website or on the KHOU 11 app. While you do that, here's a look at 2 big New York tabloids. They both come out with strong messages in the wake of the shootings. The New York Post headline says, "One small step," talking about the president's hint of reform. The Daily News, however, not having any of it. Its big headline, "Empty words," criticized the president's speech yesterday for not going far enough. Last night, Stephen Colbert started The Late Show with a 10-plus minute monologue, ripping into the situation, comparing American gun culture to the Chernobyl nuclear disaster in the Soviet Union.
The nuclear core is going to melt down and kill everyone. Because if the politicians refuse to believe it, because any acknowledgement of failure threatens their position of power, and their power is more important than saving any lives. What's that got to do with anything? Well, I think at this point it's clear that America's gun culture is melting down.
Late Late Show host James Corden also trending overnight here in Houston for this emotional, nearly 4-minute video about the mass shootings in America over the last 4 years. Our coverage continues all morning for you. At 6:10, we'll connect the dots on domestic terrorism. At 6:15, we've got a closer look at U.S. gun laws. At 6:25, we are answering your questions about anxiety after these shootings. And of course, we're always updating you live on KHOU.com.
Now to breaking news. A man is in the hospital after he was shot by 3 masked men. This happened around 9 p.m. outside an apartment on Broadway in Southeast Houston near Hobby Airport. A woman was hurt in a fall trying to run from those men. The suspects took off in a silver 2007 to 2014 model Chevy Impala. A woman and 3 toddlers are safe after being held hostage in a home in East Harris County. This was on Gray Cliff Drive. Deputies say the standoff started just before 5 p.m. yesterday when a man barricaded himself in the home. SWAT rescued the hostages and arrested the man around midnight. No word on the relationship between the woman and those children and that man. Your Rush Block continues with today's other big stories, starting with the husband in Pasadena accused of fatally stabbing his pregnant wife. Investigators say 22-year-old Alex Guajardo was out on bond for 2 separate crimes when he allegedly killed 20-year-old Caitlin. Police say she was 4 months pregnant when she was stabbed. Guajardo is being held without bond in the Harris County Jail. Galveston's police chief is apologizing after this photo went viral. It showed mounted patrol officers leading a handcuffed man down the street by a rope. The police chief says the officers used poor judgment. Officers say the man was arrested on a criminal trespassing charge. Jury deliberations picked back up this morning in David Temple's second murder trial. He's accused of shooting and killing his pregnant wife 20 years ago. State Attorney General Ken Paxton files a lawsuit against ExxonMobil following last week's explosion at the plant in Baytown. The suit accuses the company of violating the Texas Clean Air Act and Texas Water Code. That explosion injured 37 workers. The cause remains under investigation. Puerto Rico's political crisis takes a new turn.
The Senate declined to confirm Pedro Pierluisi as governor and sued on constitutional grounds to have him removed.
Last Friday, Ricardo Rosselló resigned as governor following weeks of protest. That is your Rush Block. Today's big headlines from here in Houston and around the world. Let us know what's happening in your neighborhood. Tweet us with the hashtag HTownRush. Now let's get to Cheetah for the one thing you need to know.
All right.